A warm welcome to your midweek Barbados Today Evening News Update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Government is getting the thumbs up after announcing its intention to allow members of the Rastafarian community to use cannabis for religious purposes. Former Government Minister Hamilton Lashley tells Barbados Today he's in shock and still in awe at the announcement made by Attorney General Dale Marshall last evening during debate on the medicinal cannabis bill. The AG is expected to table legislation in the next few weeks, and Lashley says it's been a long time coming.
I am happy to know that it's being legalized. I mean, it haven't been entirely passed in the House of Parliament yet, but at least it is heartening to know that after the early fight for its legalization, that this current government has come around to the position where they see not only the feasibility but the right, because there are human rights issues in this of having it legalized. For too long, the Rasta movement, the Rasta movement in Barbados, the Rastafari community in Barbados, the Rastafari people in this country has been abused, have been accused, have been ostracized, have been marginalized, have been stigmatized for what they believe in.
In other news this Wednesday, Prime Minister Mottley today signaled that she is tired of the slow process of regional integration. Addressing the 9th Annual Caribbean Forum on Regional Transformation for Inclusive and Sustainable Growth at the Lloyders Kinsandiford Centre, Prime Minister Mottley went further to state that there is a crisis of will among leaders to do what is required. Speaking to an audience that included regional prime ministers, ministers of finance and investment, and senior representatives of international financial institutions, she contended that the public sensitization has already been done regarding such issues of migration, but that action remains far off.
What is required is a will to ensure that we have a floor within the region such that the worst aspects of xenophobia can be tamed and we can get on with the business of managing migration in the best tradition of a country like Canada that has made sure that it has been able to transition in spite of the lack of population through a consistent program of managed migration. Those heads who stood before us agreeing to bring together as one a community of sovereign nations did so with the clear understanding that the constraints of size would forever act as an inhibitor to our capacity for growth. But the bottom line is that what has stood in the way is simply the will.
At a time when Scotiabank has divested its operations in 7 Caribbean countries, the bank's top officials are assuring that Scotia is here to stay. In fact, Senior Vice President of International Banking, Brendan King, says Barbados has been good for Scotiabank, and far from leaving, it will be expanding its digital footprint across the island.
We look at every market and look at its potential and look, can we operate safely within our risk parameters, and can we earn a return for our shareholders? And it's very clear to us after our analysis that Barbados continues to be a strong market for us, and we're looking forward to growing here for many years to come.
Meanwhile, King has been weighing in on growing concerns about high bank charges. He maintains Scotia has competitive rates and customers do have the power to reduce or eliminate charges.
Now, there's many ways to reduce those fees or even bring them to zero. All our transactions at ATMs, we don't have fees. Our transactions online, which you can do so much more, have no fees as well. So we're really encouraging customers to go online, do transactions at our ATMs, use our mobile app, and you'll reduce your fees or even eliminate them. So it's really in the customer's hands now. How do they want to do banking?
King was speaking at a special cocktail function, which was also addressed by Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ran Strawn. Strong challenged players in the financial sector like Scotiabank to help rebuild the Barbados economy, which he says is on the path to growth.
We are on our way. There's still a lot of work to be done. And the financial system, including commercial banks, have a critical role to play in mobilizing those resources and energizing the growth in the economy. Now, at the resolution of the external commercial debt offer, we anticipate, as was the case on the domestic side, that we will see the first upgrade in our foreign credit rating for some time. That too will be a signal to all and sundry that the trajectory with which the public finances of Barbados were on would have been changed.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We continue with developments in Jamaica. Consumers are bracing to pay higher prices for agricultural produce during the upcoming Christmas holidays. We get more in this report from Television Jamaica.
Speaking with TVJ News this morning, President of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, Lenworth Fulton, said this is due to the recent drought which affected the majority of farm-producing areas.
Well, I think we'll have some higher price than usual in that we came off late in the drought, and so you'll not have the full production of things like sorrel, which we are accustomed to. We'll have some sorrel, but not in the same quantity as we had in yesteryears.
He's expecting that prices will increase by as much as 15%.
That they're paying higher inputs because the dollar is not behaving itself, and that feed right through to every input. All of these inputs are imported. So when our dollar now is at 141, it can't do anything good for farmers. So something needs to be done to control that volatility. I don't say to fix it, but it is too volatile now and for too long, and it is affecting the importation of planting material.
Further afield, impeachment proceedings against U.S. President Donald Trump for pressuring Ukraine to investigate a political rival will reach a critical stage next week when a Democratic-led congressional committee holds its first public hearings on the issue. Here's more from Reuters Television.
A top U.S. State Department official on Wednesday appeared before the impeachment probe into President Donald Trump, the first witness to show up this week after a string of administration officials refused to meet with investigators. David Hale, who was appointed by Trump as Undersecretary for Political Affairs, met behind closed doors with lawmakers who were leading the House probe. His testimony comes a day after transcripts revealed that Gordon Sondland, a top Trump donor turned diplomat, reversed course and confirmed there was a quid pro quo, that Trump did withhold aid to pressure Ukraine to investigate his political rivals. Still, many of Trump's Senate Republican allies, like Lindsey Graham, remain unmoved.
I'm not going to read these transcripts. The whole process is a joke. The whole idea that there's a quid pro quo based on somebody changing their testimony, presuming there was. You just pick things you like. Y'all hate this guy. You want to get him impeached.
On Tuesday, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said he hasn't seen anything yet that would cause the Republican-led Senate to oust Trump.
If it were today, I don't think there's any question it would not lead to a removal.
Trump's latest tactic is to suggest the White House notes of his call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky exonerates him, tweeting, "Read the transcript."
And that's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.tv. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.